Well. Well, if it isn't that fancy, quote unquote, new Super 7 I've been hearing about.
Oh yeah, what you been hearing about me? Only the best, I'm told.
Oh God, doesn't that hurt?
Not if you never look at it.
Alright man, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not looking good for your line.
But what do you mean? I'm arguably just as posable as you. Though we're not going to talk about this elbow right now. Little heat should do the trick.
Well, you see, you're a bit on the shiny side.
Well, hey, you're kind of shiny.
Shh. This isn't about me. Then you kind of look more like a toy than an action figure.
But isn't a toy an action figure?
Not as per the Godzilla community. The closer you resemble this bad boy here, the more you're gonna get frowned upon. So in conclusion, you're now officially the worst Godzilla toy ever made.
Hey, you take that back. You take that back right now. God, these things were stupid. Look at this. He has a basketball for a tummy. Oh, I can't believe I spent money on this. Listen up, Rangers! Welcome to the Geek Chest. My name's Steve.
My name's Arnes.
He's kind of hidden behind the box a little bit. I could probably slide this over a little more for you.
No, they can see me now, Steve.
You can see the true monster. Anyways, what we got here is the Super 7 Heisei Godzilla. It says 1989. It might be debatable. Alright, so, with the Super 7s, we're starting with Godzilla because I feel like I'm just going to be blatantly honest with you guys. I have more nicer things to say about this one than the Biollante. So, we're going to start with the one that makes me feel happier about mine.
Makes you feel better.
Yes. Because I know there's been a lot of hubbub, especially at Facebook groups, pretty much any kind of group I've seen, where it's been like, people have been canceling their orders. What the hell? This doesn't look like the pre-order we got. I'm losing money.
This does not look like an 89.
Biollante is the only one we're picking up, and I want to quell all this right now. We almost did both of them in one video, but views, so we're doing two. So anyways, main reason I picked this up is because, personally for me, and from what I saw from the production photos, and even the prototype photos when they first announced these things, I knew they weren't going to be like super accurate Godzilla figures.
But they were going to be good enough.
Yes, it's Super 7, so I was expecting something that's going to be a little bit more action figure-y, because having picked up this dude back here, you guys can't see what I'm pointing at. That doesn't help me at all.
Nope.
I'm going to murder my shelf.
Oh my god, yes you are.
Ugh. But having picked up the Dino
Super 7
Megazord, the Tyrannosaurus from Super 7, I know it's going to be like this guy. He was $55, so he's cheaper. We'll get to that later. But it's like, it feels like a toy, but it's very action figure-like still.
It's very actually good way of explaining. It feels like a toy, but it still feels like an action figure.
Yeah, it's still very posable. Arnes is holding the thing we're going to review here in a minute.
Sorry. Guys can't see it, don't look.
It doesn't feel like, say, like a Monster Arts or like a Japanese import figure. It feels like more similar to a NECA or even like a Hasbro figure or something. More akin to that for me.
How it was explained to me about this company, it was supposed to be a notch up from NECA, but like notch below SH.
Yeah, it was kind of going to be like the middle ground, which is actually what Haya became.
Yeah, that's where Haya is right now.
And actually, Hayas are kind of our low ground. Although I am still curious with Haya. We're going to actually do a video. We'll get into it more later. But with the Godzilla license, generally speaking, Godzilla stuff is generally more expensive than most everything else you can get at that same price point. I don't know how the license really works, but it always, to me, seems like everything's hiked up more, like even in Monster Arts realm.
Yeah.
The Toho stuff is more expensive than the Legendary stuff, or even some of the, like, for instance, that Blue Eyes White Dragon just got announced, and it's the same price as the Godzilla -1. And it's bigger, has a beam effect, and a stand. And it's the same price. So, I know a lot of the stuff probably has to do with the license.
Yeah,
and it'd be a Toho, because the Legendary stuff is like, the Godzilla's like $60 and came with the beam.
I think it has to do with how much they got to pay.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see, because Haya is going to be doing Toho figures, if they're going to be the same price as their Legendaries. Because personally, I think they're going to be more expensive.
I think they will too.
But we'll have to wait and see. But anyways, without further ado, for the packaging, you see it rotate here this entire time. But it has the green. It's got a bit of the Godzilla scaling going on. You have the Godzilla name on the back for the particular movie. On the front has the kanji, who's in the packaging. And then we'll shut this off. But it's one it's one of these sides. When you slide this off.
The box looks better already. Jesus.
I'm trying, man. There's an air vacuum in there. But you would be able to see the figure on the inside. It looks kind of like it's broken out of rubble, which I think is really cool. And also on the back, it has the movie. It's got a little bit of a description there. And overall, pretty solid box. If you want to just display it in the box,
that is actually...
it's a good spot. It's a good thing. Also, I would almost recommend it. But anyways, we'll get to that later. At least for one of them. But all right. Since we got him open up out of his cardboard prison, we're just going to transition. Also, you might see more accessories. I just put all the ones because they're out of the box. So
do you really
these don't come with it.
Do you really want to disappoint people?
I'm ready. What do you mean? All right, so now that we got Godzilla open up out of its cardboard prison, first and foremost, I think it looks okay. Because personally, you'll see here, it's kind of rotating on the stand. We'll get into the accessories here, and then we'll get a closer look at the Godzilla. But in terms of the actual detailing and body proportions, I actually think it looks solid.
It looks bigger, I guess, than NECA. Or at least feels bigger than NECA.
Yeah, because we'll do some size comparisons that I totally left on the other table. Hold on.
Good job, Steve.
Because I think for a lot of people, they're kind of comparing, say, him to a Haya, which he is bigger.
But I can already see the detail difference.
He's bigger.
Jesus.
Quiet down. We have a Monster Arts, who is twice the size.
Bigger does not necessarily mean better, Steve.
We have the NECA.
NECA has better...
Actually, it's about the same.
No, it's not.
It's pretty close. He's a little less defined.
No. Look, NECA has like the ridges and the lines, and this is just smooth plastic here.
It's not smooth. It's got ripples.
No, it does not.
It's got ripples. It's a little more rounded, but it's got the ripples. I don't want to hear it.
Look at the legs.
Okay, the legs, babe. All right, you might got me on the legs.
God,
just detailing.
No, I need that meme here where the guy's like, no, God, no. No.
So, yeah, and the spines are more detailed too.
Oh my God. $85.
As you guys can see. In comparison. Because he would have been about $30 when he came out.
Wait, did you bring your Biollante down here for comparison too? You should have.
No, because I got to destroy my entire shelf. It's so big.
I know.
Eventually, I got to do the comparisons. We'll worry about it then. Now, you know who he looks good next to?
No, because this one's now bigger and better.
I did grab the big one, to be fair. Although he would cost you more money.
Why is life full of disappointments? I tell you what. What the hell?
Although, to be fair, I'd rather have this. Because this is what I grew up with. I love the Trimmaster Godzilla
Steve,
figures.
I will just pay you $85 right now.
And to be honest, I almost kind of wish, because for me, the way they did these Godzilla figures, I almost wish they would have took this and made it disposable. Instead of trying to take this and making it more like this. Because that's kind of what it seems like they did for me. Your batteries are on?
Already
That
winning!
scared the crap out of me.
I thought it was your phone or something.
I was like, what? Anyways, for a closer look at the accessories. All right, so first and foremost, we have the Godzilla head, which is an extra accessory where this
What is that?
So it's Biollante's vines wrapping around his neck.
Are they the same color as the Godzilla?
No, it's a little... All right, so oddly enough, it's a dark green. That doesn't
I can't tell until I look at the camera screen right there. Look.
Shifting the lights a little bit closer just so you guys can see a little bit better.
Yeah,
But,
now on a camera I can see it, but when you look at the person, I can't tell the difference in a
yeah,
paint
it's a
job.
darker color than the Godzilla. But oddly enough, it's not really that glossy compared to the Godzilla head. But also, oddly enough, this is also your extra head. Here, so this comes off because you actually have to swap the head out if you want a
Open mouth.
open mouth.
That's actually, I kind of like that accessory. Okay, that's probably the first positive thing I've seen about this.
Yeah, it's kind of like pick your poison, because I know a lot of people were wondering why they just didn't do an articulated mouth, but then doing this, you have one less seam line, because it's
Yeah.
kind of like you either have it open or closed. You don't really have it much in the middle. So I get why they did it.
I
Personally,
support that idea.
yeah,
I'm okay with
I don't
that.
think it's that bad. I like a hinge a little bit better, but I can see it. Plus, it makes it kind of more unique
Yeah.
than some of the other offerings, so I can get behind that.
Well, the whole concept of the line and the head in it, that's a cool accessory.
Yeah, and then you also get this hand, which has the pierced hole from Biollante's hand vine.
That's cool.
It's neat. Granted, I kind of wish there was more color to it than just this
A
neon
little-
green.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but again, it makes it feel more like a toy,
It makes me feel like Godzilla's blood is green now.
more so than an action figure.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, kind of. Oh, though his blood is green.
That green, like Biollante.
Sometimes it depends on the movie or iteration, because sometimes it's red, sometimes it's green. It's weird. He also comes with a clenching hand for both sides. And you also get a pair of clenched fists. And then for the Godzilla, if you want to swap out the head, you're going to want to pull straight from the ball joint. You might have to wiggle it a little bit or heat it up, because I will say some of these joints have been super tight. But just pull that off.
Can you swap out his tail or something?
No.
Then why is there such a massive gap?
Shh, we'll get to it.
Bitch, don't you shush me.
But if you want to swap it out, here it is with the vine on the neck. So if you want to get your Biollante toy and then have it kind of next to it, it gets the...
There's no like accessory that you can
wrapping
connect
look.
it to that?
no.
Oh my god. Come on, people.
It's just a look. But I did pop the head in all the way, so it looks like a little bit higher. That is exactly what I did. But here's the open mouth of the figure. Same if you want to swap out the hand, which we'll put the bloody stump
Damaged.
hand in. You want to grab at the base of the wrist, base of the forearm, and just pull. It's pretty easy to do. And then same when going in, you just want to make sure you're going straight into the joint, because if you bend it any other way, you might break it. So that is a bit of a concern. But outside of that, that's pretty much it for all the swapping you have to do.
Yeah.
Overall, not too bad. It's actually fairly easy to swap out the accessory, which is nice. For closer look as details, though, like we mentioned, the texturing on the skin is not that super defined. It's there, but it's very rounded. Like Arnes mentioned, in some areas, it almost kind of reminds me a bit of a Playmates.
Yeah, some areas definitely do.
And like I mentioned, it reminds me a ton of this guy that likes to keep yelling. Where it's very defined in certain sections, not so fine. I gotta turn you off. Where's your off button? So that's when I mentioned it kind of reminds me of a Treadmaster, but they took a Monster Arts to try to make it more like a Treadmaster instead of what I would have preferred the other way around. The spines look correct. Again, not super detailed, but the airbrushing over top of them is done pretty well to replicate the character. The figure is very green. I don't really notice any dry brushing. It looks like it's pretty solid, just plastic. Maybe
There's no dry
a little
brushing
bit.
on that, Steve.
It's hard to tell by lighting. There's a little bit of dry brushing. You can kind of see it on the head, with the extra head. Although the one thing I will say that's fairly noticeable is that it's got a bit of a shine to it.
Yeah, look at the top of the head right there. It's like super shiny.
I almost feel like a lot of that has to do with it being the Biollante one, and the companion figure for this one is Biollante, where they fought in the water. So it having a bit of a glossy finish kind of makes sense.
You would just have
Then
to wait
again,
and see the
it
next
also
one.
reminds me of this guy where he's kind of shiny too. Like I said, it's got a lot of similarities to a Treadmaster.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Whether people like it or not, it's definitely got some similarities. Chest detailing, overall. Actually, I think the chest is pretty good. Like I said, it's mainly like the waist and around the thighs, I think, are where the detailing gets a little bit lackluster. Same with the articulation for the knees. It's kind of weird that they have the front of the knee going over top instead of...
They say thick thighs save lives. These ones don't save lives. These are god-awful.
It almost kind of looks like he has a claw there. That, and also when you bend it, you can also see the joint on the front. And one thing I do wish they would have done is cut the cap off and had this on top.
So it would stay covered the whole time.
Yeah, so the joint would stay covered on the front. You would see it more on the back, but whoop-de-freaking-do.
Nobody has a figure facing backwards. You
Yeah, usually. So personally, that's probably one of the major design choices I think would have been better if they would have did the other way around. The other weird one is the tail here. Has quite a bit of gappage here, and a lot of that's just so it can move.
Look at this. I can put a screwdriver in there.
Yeah. It's quite a bit. Which, again, kind of reminds me of this guy.
I thought it was like for a purpose or something, but it's not. They just made it so he can have some movement.
No, if anything, it should have been a little bit more inset. So the tail could have been a little bit farther. But then again, you wouldn't be able to pose the tail as much as they would have done that. At least the way that they designed this figure.
Wow, for like whole half a millisecond there, I thought Steve said incest. I'm like, what the fuck does incest have to do with this?
For the claws, the paint job the nails are gray. Same with the toenails. He does have his 4 toes. And that's pretty much it. The articulation on this guy. Head can look down about that far, up about that far, side to side. It's pretty good. Rotates all the way around.
Oh my gosh, my neck hurts.
Both sections. Arms can rotate all the way around. Goes up about yay far, down about that far. Rotation at the bicep. Single jointed elbow. Hand can rotate and has a hinge. At the waist, it only rotates. But I think you can go all the way around.
Oh.
But nothing real forward and back. Legs can go also forward and back. Can't go all the way around. A little bit of a wiggle there. Knees can rotate side to side. And it's a single joint. It's kind of hard to move. This one is also stiff.
They put in a super kneecap.
Yeah, it doesn't give you that much possibility. Because it looks like I should be able to get more forward. Oh, there we go. So you can straighten it about that far. And then the feet can rotate side to side.
A little bit there.
Decent forward and back. And then the tail, it's segmented pretty much all the way down. But I will say, it takes a bit of working, if you hear that sound, to get it to position. But you can get it pretty flat. You can get it pretty decently up. And then a little bit side to side. But nothing too crazy, no.
Here's quick comparisons. Here we have the Super 7 Godzilla compared next to some other Super 7 figures with the Rose Biollante and the Tyrannosaurus Dino Megazord, which still kind of confuses me that this thing is bigger and not nearly as expensive. But then again, this line sounds like it's dead already, so I guess it has that going for it. And then here it is with the SH Monster Arts offerings with the original and the Triple K version. And here it is with the NECA Godzilla 89 and the Treadmasters Large Electronic Godzilla. And here it is with the aforementioned Godzillas from the beginning of the skit with the, what I affectionately call the Seizure Godzilla 2014. And I guess Beer Gut, we don't really have a name for you. His gimmick is you move his tummy and his tail wiggles. God, these things sucked. And then for some stuff I got recently that I don't really plan on opening, we have the Micro Squadrons and one Starfighter from The Mandalorian, the Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron line, and the Playmates reissues of the Movie Star Turtle figures. I ended up getting the set of the Turtles. This is a Walmart exclusive that I think you can find most anywhere.
Okay, so overall for the Super 7 Godzilla figure, I think he's fine.
He's not.
Granted, do I think he should have been $85?
No. He should have been the same price as the Power Ranger 55, 50.
Yeah, like 55 I feel like is where I would have been more comfortable with it. Granted, it's got a lot more going on. It feels heavy. It's a hefty figure, which makes me a bit happier about it. Like, I'm not as butthurt about this thing as, say, something else we're going to be reviewing. But like we mentioned earlier, these guys, he's more posable than this. Don't get me wrong. But in terms of just like what it came with, presentation, again, $55. It's $30 cheaper. Just want to drive that home. This looks good. It still looks close enough to the show.
$30 is a lot, people. That's almost another figure.
For instance, McFarlane makes Mega Figs. This guy was $50.
Look at the difference.
In terms of detailing and posability, they're pretty close. Like, he'd be technically more posable, but he's more posable.
Oh my god.
Things like this make me feel like this should have been cheaper. But like I mentioned with the Godzilla license and what have you, I don't feel as bad about it, but I think it could have been a little bit cheaper. Now, some of the other offerings they have coming out at the same price point, I think are going to be better. For instance, like Space Godzilla just got announced. He looks cool. Mogira, and 85 sounds kind of steep, but cheaper than the Monster Arts.
You're supposed to convince me to get the Mogira, Steve.
Like I said, the Mogira is going to be like him. So I still think it should be cheaper. But it's not that bad. I think like Space Godzilla is going to be fine. Destroya, again, for your options, I think it'll be good. The mechas, I'm kind of in the same boat because the mecha at least comes with comes with stuff.
I kind of feel like
the Godzillas are where I'm like, the burning, I think I'll be a little happier with.
I kind of feel like they're only doing this, or why they're charging so much is for the actual, like, the figure because of the certain movies.
It's because it's a Toho Godzilla, yeah. That's why I feel like they're a little more pricey. And again, I think this is more for, because you definitely have a lot of different Godzilla collectors. You have the ones that want like something that looks exactly like the movie. And then you have those people that want something a little bit more unique. Which are the people that kind of like...
That's not unique.
Oh, I didn't grab it. Hold on. I think the people that are going to enjoy this figure a lot more are going to be the people that kind of like the Marmots, your Bullmarks, your Funkos.
But Marmots are better.
What do you mean? This guy is going to cost you like 3 times as much as that guy. And it's just a piece of vinyl that barely moves. But he's colorful and deformed, so we pay more money for it.
Oh, idea, Steve. You buy a bunch of Super 7s, paint them like Marmots, and sell them as Marmots. You make money.
And then people would be like, you're overpaying. I'm like, but I had to pay $85 for the figure.
What do you want from me?
And then also for the people that like collecting the older Shredmaster Godzillas. Like, if you want a Godzilla that feels older, this is it.
Oh, that's...
Like, to me, he feels like a figure that should have came out like 2010. He's like the Duke Nukem Forever of Godzilla
forever to make.
It came out way past the time that this thing would have been like...
relevant.
God, if this would have even came out like when NECA was a thing, I think people would have been a lot happier. But we've kind of been spoiled with Monster Arts, and now Haya especially. That I think people are just not quite as on board. So if you want something that feels a little bit more like it's a vintage figure, but not really a vintage figure, he's definitely it for you. That being said, I know I'm going to probably be grabbing more of them, mainly for review purposes, and there's a couple. Like, I'm really excited for that Meltdown one.
Oh, the one that we ordered?
Yeah, because I think if the Meltdown's as good as him, that figure is going to be sweet.
So, here's what we're going to do, Steve. You're going to order Mogira. You're going to review it. And then I'm going to buy it off you $55 like I should have paid for it.
So I'm going to pay $85 and then sell it to you for $55.
And you're going to feel good to know you helped somebody out.
Well, to be fair, I'm probably going to take a hit if I try to sell these anyway. So to each their own. But anyways, and like I'm going to mention it here, and we'll probably mention it in the other one, but in any other Super 7 video that we're going to do for these. But if you're planning on trying to collect this line, I recommend pre-ordering them, because if they don't get enough pre-orders, they're not going to continue the line. Now, there's a lot of people are going to be upset about that. Probably not.
I know I won't.
But, for instance, this guy, they already canceled the White Tiger Zord because it didn't get enough pre-orders.
So Steve is butthurt.
So, yeah, I'm butthurt about that because I ended up canceling all the other ones because why am I going to invest in a line that they're not going to complete
it defeats the whole
things
purpose.
for me?
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, sweet, if I could get like all the Mighty Morphin Zords, that'd be dope. And maybe they'll do the Ninja Zords and stuff like that. Sign me up. But they're already not doing the White Tiger. So at that point,
Done.
I don't mind having this because it's unique. But I don't really have like a good posable version of it. But like I already have a White Tiger Zord. I already have Dino. I already have a good Dino Megazord. I don't need it.
No, you made a good choice.
Yeah.
A good call.
That or if it goes on sale, I'll probably grab it then.
Yeah.
We'll see. So if you want to collect the line, it's for the people that are like, well, I kind of want to get things, but I'm going to wait for people to review them. You're going to want to pre-order it because it might not get to the reviewer, is what I'm saying.
I don't think, just based on this stuff, if they don't amp it up a little bit, they're not going to make it.
Like I said, a lot of the other figures in the line, I think at that price point, I think are going to be fine. Because like I said, there's a lot of them that are like, if it's as good as him, I'll be happy.
But they're one of their first
If they're
releases.
as good as this thing, we'll get to it. Might not be as happy.
Yeah, but one of their first releases for these lines are mediocre figures. Nobody's going to take the risk again, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of the issue because even just like scale-wise, it's weird that Destroyer's coming out, it's more expensive, but it scales. Well, we got Rose Biollante that doesn't scale. Like I said, the first wave kind of... I almost wish they would have started with the burnings.
Yeah.
I think if they would have started with the Destroyer and the burning, you probably would have sold a lot more people.
If the melted comes with the box design like this, I'm leaving mine in the box. Like, that bitch ain't opening.
Like I said, I think the Meltdown one's... like if the Meltdown one will be sweet and I'll love it. If it's as good as this. Same with...
We're going to open Steve.
Same with like the Space Godzilla would be cool. That's all I got.
Like I said,
Destroyer will probably be good too.
I really wanted a Mogira, but now I'm leaning towards no. Like,
I was gonna say, does his mouth not open? Start playing with things, and it's like, I see a joint. Shit.
He's gonna break it.
Actually, I don't think it does. I think that's just there.
Yeah, and that one.
Oh, that one's the same too. Oh, it's because they're dead. I thought you were still. I'm learning things. We haven't even got to the review yet.
Just like this line, it's dead.
Not necessarily. I haven't heard of canceling things yet, but we'll see. But anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. So help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button, subscribe, become a Ranger today. If you guys picked up the Super 7s, let us know in the comments section below. Also, if you guys like to pick up these figures for yourself, link in the description for Entertainment Earth. Help support the channel. Also get yourself some collectibles. Like I said, I think he's cool, but he's for a specific collector base. We'll get to this one. Anyways.
10-year-old kids, mostly.
We also got Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, and Patreon, and also a Threads now. So if you guys like to keep up to date with us, best way to do it. We also got Patreon if you want to donate. $1 get your early access videos, $3 for the Discord, $5 get your names. I'll be updating it sometime in the near future. Still haven't got around to it yet.
Somebody donated €1 to us, which is like $1.2. I was like, yeah.
I'm okay with that. But anyways, see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.